time to my own website, some weeks or even months, I know it's in good hands.
I've known Luke and Ant for years now, and I know they're good boys.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. If you are new to the channel, my name is Luke. I'm the CEO of Sleeping Giant Media and Giant Campus. We're a digital marketing agency focusing on getting relevant traffic to our clients' websites. So if you're on our social channels, be that LinkedIn, be that YouTube, please do hang around and check out the content. There's some loads of ideas there to get you started with marketing or take you to that next level. We have a fantastic guest today. We have Dan Maudhub from Wonderful Creative Agency. We have a wonderful quiz. We've got everything that is going to be wonderful, and we're going to get loads of innovation, loads of ideas from Dan in just a second. So let's get this show on the way. We've got, in terms of news, what's going on in the world at the moment. Some mad things are happening. We have people of England tested, or the number of people in England testing positive for the coronavirus levelling off, I'm pleased to say, based on the Office of National Statistics. The UN is releasing some emergency supplies as it warns of a humanitarian crisis following the horrific blast in Beirut. In lighter but somewhat worrying news, President Trump entertained the world with his COVID graphs during his interview with HBO. There's also some stuff I'm sure we're going to be talking to Dan about the misinformation as well when it comes to kind of Trump and Twitter. On this side of the pond, a heat wave has hit the UK. The mercury is set to rise to 37 degrees in London. I don't know how you guys are doing right now. I hope you're in the shade in the garden somewhere right now. I'm absolutely boiling in front of the lights right now. But anyway, it's been a mad week. It's Friday. Let's cool down together. It's business as unusual. Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. If you've got any questions for myself, for Dan, please do chuck them in the chat. As I said, I hope you are on a mobile device outside in the shade with a beer at least, or a non-alcoholic beer, or just a cold drink, because it's absolutely boiling today. So yeah, I won't be surprised if you're watching this on a repeat at some point when it's much, much cooler. So without further ado, let's introduce Dan. Dan, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Apart from hot.
It's quite warm, isn't it? It is quite warm. How are things kind of generally? Well, firstly, actually, could you give everybody a bit of an introduction to yourself, the business, what you guys do?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dan from Wonderful Creative Agency. We help to build brands through fusing creativity and technology. So what does that mean in plain English? We build tech stuff, we launch a lot of new companies, we do a lot of digital strategy work and help people measure their data so they know what the next stage of their growth needs to be. What does that mean in English? We grow businesses.
I love the way you had to do that twice, the sort of the English bit, because it's
you got to get through the corporate BS, then you got to get through the tech BS, then you got to get to what is it you actually do.
Yeah, to narrow the field a little bit. So
exactly.
But I mean, you guys, you do some. I'm going to go straight into it. Wonderful stuff, and we are going to make it really tenuous, as you will see in just
100%.
A minute. We're going to get into that. But what's the sort of last few months been like for you guys as a business? Is it obviously, probably some challenges, but how's it generally been?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, obviously, when the news came in March, clients just kind of, you freeze, right? It's like this big freeze. Like, what do we do? What do we need to do? And I think that there's a few layers to what we saw. Those clients that were already invested in the technology and digital infrastructure within their business and could actually communicate, with their clients quite naturally, they kind of just carried on to a certain extent. So, obviously they had to make differences in terms of how they talk to people, how you do meetings, both B2B, B2C. So there was a sense of some clients carried on. There's also another sense, other clients just went, holy smoke, what do we do? And from my perspective, it's a bit like, I've been banging the technology and digital drum. You need to get your CRM in place. Your website hasn't worked and performed for donkey's years. Now you're telling us you want a new website. Yeah. You've had no digital strategy in place for the last 3-4 years. You're completely offline business that pretends it does social. So you kind of, it's been a case of some clients have been great. They've carried on. Other clients have hit the panic button. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not making lighthearted of it. There's been some hugely challenging times for some of our clients, actually, particularly with the bigger clients, where there's been a real sense of there's a global, the pandemic's obviously global, but they're a global business. So therefore, they're dealing with lots of different areas. So spend was cut. And I'm not going to lie. We had some clients who just hit the pause button. Absolutely. But actually, it's been a real sense of, is what we deliver to our clients relevant right now and moving forward? So it's been good for us as an agency. Yeah. We had actually lockdown the first 3 months was super busy because we had about 4 or 5 quite large projects that were in the pipeline that were all due to go live. So we're like working remotely and managing all of our teams, trying to put a new CRM live, 3 new websites live, a mobile app live. Wow. So it's actually, to be honest, pretty intense.
Yeah, I bet. With also trying to handle obviously additional panic and, I don't know if you've obviously seen it, but the additional kind of admin that's kind of come about as obviously clients trying to change what they're doing, moving around all over the place as well. It's, there's no money for that. It's just you have to do it, but it takes up quite a lot of time as well.
Hugely, yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, we wanted to really work much more closely with our clients, almost on a daily, weekly basis, because everything changes for them. How does that impact us? Or things, we're coming up with new ways of doing things. How does it impact clients? So, it's been pretty intense. I mean, the proper Zoom fatigue.
Yeah, Zoom, man, it's relentless. It's been. As we sit here doing a live show in 36 degrees, it's quite relentless. So I hear you on that one for sure. But at the same time, as you say, it's kind of, you've had that opportunity to talk to people at a human level, potentially build some of those relationships with those clients as well. So although there's some challenges, there's some good things that come from this as well.
I'll tell you what, one of the funniest examples of that, we had a new biz pitch in probably end of May, beginning of June. So got a director of a really large consultancy firm, very professional, really you can see he's a top boy, director of the firm. So we're sitting there going through the presentation, and then we get about 30 minutes in and he says, "I'm sorry, I've got to go." And I was like, okay. He said, "You can't see, but from my shorts down, I'm absolutely soaked. I've just been in the paddling pool with the kids." So he sat through a pitch, completely soaked, because I could only see his t-shirt, obviously.
That is incredible.
So and he goes, "Dan, I've got to go, I'm sorry." Luckily we won the business, but he was soaked. He just hung up on the call.
That is incredible. I'm going to keep an eye out now for when you do a press release for your new clients, and I'm just going to be like, is that the guy? Is that the guy? Is that guy? That's amazing. I mean, well, that's the thing. You get kind of insight into people's lives, don't you? That So I think there's 2 things. I don't know if you've done a pitch or a conversation yet, where I did it on Microsoft Teams, and essentially you walk into the room and they're like, "Hi guys, yeah, welcome," and then you do the pitch, and then they go, "Right, we're just gonna switch our video off now," and then they don't, and then disappear. Yes. Like, can you imagine that in the real world? Like walking into a boardroom with like 6 or 7 people, and then they just go, off you go, and then literally you just then can't see them for the rest of the meeting for like an hour, and you're kind of just like the self-doubt that kind of hits through. So there's almost like there's that mad side of it, but then you get what you just mentioned there, that really human side of things as well.
Oh, don't. We actually did a pitch where everyone was off camera on Teams. So we pitched to the laptop. It was
How
the
difficult is that?
worst,
How difficult is that?
worst pitch ever.
Like,
you
oh
know.
man, it's so tough.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what sort of stuff are you doing to try to like help in that digital environment? Because it is, you know, it's a skill set there, isn't there? There's almost like a new skill, and we know we've been talking about actually, you know, does it affect recruitment? Who do you recruit different people because they might be a bit more, you know, able to kind of carry the conversation in a like really awkward conversation, in a really awkward situation where you're just staring at this camera that doesn't respond back. But you know, how do you kind of help or improve the chances of success in those situations? Is there anything you're kind of working on?
Yeah, it's a good question, but it's pretty tricky sometimes because we do quite a lot of sort of strategy work with clients. So not as an overused word, but as in we're helping them to shape the next piece of work they're going to be doing, or shape a new platform, or we're mapping out customer journeys or user stories. So usually that's like a post-it note in around a boardroom job, right? And then you're looking at different examples on the screen. So we've had to learn how to do that virtually, utilizing different technologies. So you'd have someone screen share one thing, you'd have someone else logged in screen sharing something different. Nice. So just basically trying to be collaborative in a virtual environment. The other thing is like people's attention spans. So we're just saying no meetings online more than 30, 45 minutes tops, because clients are then just dribbling and you're just dribbling and no one's really listening, and it's just a nightmare. Yeah. So we're trying. Tell you what it is though, is it's really good for actions, like short, sharp meetings. So you come in, you sort of set the agenda out, actions, how's everyone doing? Actions, notes, off we go.
Absolutely, yeah.
So efficiency-wise, it can actually be quite good. So,
but creativity, innovation sometimes lessened because you're not having that kind of almost the banter that you would normally have in a real world environment.
Absolutely, yeah. And that kind of you know, when you're around a table and you're actually thinking through something and get the vibe in the room, that's been like that. But having said that, we've scoped out another new app for a client that's been really good. So yeah, it's not ideal, but you know, you make do, don't you? But I think the human side is massive. What you said earlier on. Like just being able to see the CEO of Company X in his lounge, in his shorts, basically, you know, like talking to your mate, you know, whereas you know that when you're in a boardroom, that formality and those sort of corporate walls that are up, you don't have any of that anymore,
Absolutely,
do you?
Yeah. Interesting. It's going to be, pros and cons of that remote element, as everything is. We're going to quickly cut to... a very challenging quiz that that producer Alex has put together. We've renamed this recently because he picks one thing which is completely irrelevant, but then ties a quiz to it, which in this case is your name as the Wonderful Creative Agency. So we've kind of taken it. It's a wonderful quiz, a little quiz about everything wonderful. So are you ready for this? Right. So which of these does Louis Armstrong not see in the song "What a Wonderful Life"? What do we think? Again, I expect you should know this.
Everyone's singing that in their head right now, aren't they? I see something. White Roses.
White Roses is correct. Love that. I feel like there's another game we should play which gets you to sing a song, because I feel like that would be good. That would be very good.
I feel like the audience would love it.
I think it would do. Absolutely. Again, the chat, if you want to play along on the game, please get involved as well. What is the name of the 1946 American Christmas film? It's pretty...
Oh, that's a classic. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, man.
That's a classic. There we go.
It's interesting. You are absolutely correct. Masudin, one of our directors, refuses to watch it because it's black and white. But I'm like, mate, it's absolutely awesome. It's got everything except for colour.
It is a good film. So, everything in two colour.
Except for the colour. Question 3. What is the nickname of music legend Stevland Hardway Judkins?
Oh, that's an obvious one. Oh, flip. Oh.
Think about the name of the quiz. Think about the name of your agency.
It's a wonderful quiz. Wonderful.
And then look at his first name.
Stevie Wonder.
Boom!
Oh, look at that. That was...
You're overthinking it, mate. That's the thing. You're on a different level. You're on a strategic level. This is not strategic. This is tactical right now.
Listen, that's good consultancy right there.
We've gone back to question 1 again. Alex, what are you doing? Which of these is not one of Wonder Woman's known powers?
enhanced smell. Is
Who
it?
knew?
Oh,
Who knew? Except for,
I thought she could read my
to be honest,
mind.
I had a quick flick through earlier. I was like, I went for that one as well. I was like, yeah, definitely that. That's mental. But apparently, she's got an enhanced smell. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I suspect probably.
Yeah, is that really a superpower?
Is that a power or just a burden? But then again, with great power comes great responsibility. So, tie it back round to Spider-Man. Okay, moving on. Question number 5. What was almost the title of Alice in Wonderland?
Oh, good question. The obvious answer has to be Alice's Wonderful Adventure.
But I'm afraid this time, sir, you're wrong.
Oh,
See, I may have misled you earlier when I was saying, just think of the name of the quiz. It's really easy, but yeah,
I have to say wonderful to
exactly.
everything.
Yeah, but
Alice's Adventures Underground. What is she, like a mole or something?
Exactly. I think they've done well. I think they've done well to rename that one, and that there concludes the tenuous game. I think you did very well there. And chat, I just saw a few. I think Nell. Did he get that right? Not quite. No. But anyway, would you believe it? We have reached the halfway mark, and we're going straight into digital news roundup.
Manuals. Read the books. Manuals. Read the books. Manuals. Read the books.
No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
We're lower than the world. Lower than what, Europe? In what? In what? Take a look.
Hi guys, and welcome back. We are halfway through the show. We have Dan Maudhub from the wonderful creative agency. We've put him through his paces on the wonderful quiz. He's done a sterling job. He's also explained in 3 different forms of English what his business does as well. So that's been insightful. We are now going to be moving to the second part of the show. Just looking at the digital news roundup there, we talked about Donald Trump. Obviously, he features in quite a lot of our content because he's literally everywhere on the internet. One of the bits around misinformation. He sort of sent out was it a tweet? It was a tweet. It was about essentially saying that children are nearly immune from coronavirus or COVID, which was then removed by Twitter for misinformation. What's your thoughts on kind of the platform's responsibilities for moderation and kind of misinformation?
It's a difficult question, isn't it? Because you get a half truth from somewhere, one source, you get another half truth, and then before you know it, you're in misinformation and meme city. You just kind of, everything's become a nightmare. And obviously it's an echo chamber, but news spreads so quickly. So you kind of think, what's the responsibility for the Donald Trumps of the world and the celebs of the world to actually put out information that's validated by sources as opposed to their own opinion? So I think there's absolutely a responsibility on the Trumps of the world. But the other side of it is that people just retweet and share and post absolute drivel without even knowing where it come from. Just because President Trump said something doesn't mean it's true. Now, you and I might sit there and go, well, obviously. Yeah, exactly.
What?
Say what?
I don't believe you, Dan.
yeah, delete my Twitter account. But it gets, gets thousands of retweets.
Absolutely.
So, the amplification of it is just crazy.
Yeah.
And I think the whole COVID scenario, the whole pandemic we've been in, obviously there's been so many significant events within it, but every event causes more misinformation than real information. So it's a minefield, isn't it? Which is the nature of what the internet's there for, right? It's freedom of speech, in inverted commas, says Google. But it's freedom of speech, but it's also about being able to share things that are relevant and real. And I think there's a responsibility in all of us, to be honest.
Absolutely. And there's a comment in the chat from Alex, the Trumps of the world, or your quote, Trumps of the world, is there more than one? I really hope there's not more than one, because otherwise...
There is a country somewhere that breeds him.
Is it a country or a planet? I don't know. It's
a planet. It's an alternative universe.
He's a special character, that guy. But he gives us no sort of shortage of something to talk about in the sort of the morning. We have our morning catch-ups as a company, and normally there's something that features from Donald Trump in terms of, guys, just to let you know, this is just madness, and it kind of lightens the mood a little bit, so it kind of breaks up some of the challenges that are kind of going on in the world at the moment. I wanted to move the conversation on to the entrepreneurial aspect. So obviously, you set up the business, and I believe you've got a number of businesses. Is that, well, we were talking about some stuff in the past that we were doing. Did you?
Yeah, got a few things.
Yeah, just a few things. Okay, sounds mysterious and something to talk about.
I know it does.
It does.
I don't know why I said
no,
that.
it's all right. It's sort of, because I was cautious. I was like, I'm pretty sure you were doing some other things, but it's all right. We don't have to go into the detail because it's clearly under the hat, top secret stuff. But very much an entrepreneur and successful entrepreneur. What do you think about the current situation in terms of setting up a business? Is it a good time, bad time? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think, so just practically a wonderful, we are working with 3 startups at the moment that are all either at pre-seed stage or seed stage or funding and investment. I think a few layers to that. One is the investment market is tough at the moment for seed investment. So if you've got a product that you haven't monetized or validated, it is a tough environment to get funding for. I think flip that on its head. I think when the economy is tough and, you've really got to know where you add value. Like if I look at the explosion of the tech scene, particularly in London, everyone has got this great idea to do this little widget and that widget and this little thing that's going to change the world. And when the money's floating around freely, you see it's easier to pick up 100 grand, 150 grand, pre-seed, angel funding, test something, and validate it. But actually, I think the market's going to get tougher for that. So what does it do is it makes you really think about the business plan in reality. Yeah. Makes you really think, have I got business that adds value? Who is my target audience? Do they want it? What's the competitive landscape? What's the actual market share that I can get? What's my cost per acquisition? All the things that, should be considered in a business plan. I think those things have become even more relevant moving forward. Yeah. And even for established companies, I think it's a case of really looking at ourselves and saying, where do we really add value? And who do we really add value to? And what's that value really worth? And actually going back to sort of the bitty basics of business, really. So, we are working, as I said, with 3 startups at the moment. One of those has got, 2 of those have got pre-seed funding. One's going for a larger raise. It'll be interesting to see how they get on. I mean,
because again, so recessions are often a good time to start a business. And Sleeping Giant Media, we started in 2008. Depth of recession, there was no funding. This is an interesting one because actually there's a lot of funding at the moment, isn't there? So it's almost like, there's a good opportunity in it's tough times, absolutely, but actually the availability of money, given everything that the government's kind of doing, it's probably pretty good to do that. We know, it will be challenging, but you can get your hands on some funding.
Absolutely, and I think as well, this is the time, without getting too sort of, existential about it, it's a good time to review things, right? And sort of say, well, actually, what are those real business passions that I've got? And the government are there to support. I think you're right, and I think the UK government, without sort of getting political, I think from an economic sense have done a really, really good job at actually helping to steady the ship and put in cash injections of funding where it's needed. So it's all, I agree with you. I think a recession always creates opportunities. I think certain economies are obviously going to be or are being massively impacted and will continue to be, but again, offers opportunities, particularly for smaller, agile businesses. I think the day of the larger sort of juggernaut businesses is really sort of quite rapidly coming to an end, right?
Except for Amazon.
Except for
except if you're already a juggernaut already, and you're like, because I think his personal wealth in a day went up by $13 billion.
I know.
I feel like I've missed this boat. feel like it's too late for that for me. But
Missed the boat. I'm not even in the sea. Missed the boat.
so yeah, I mean, again, like this is an interesting one. You're talking about those kind of juggernauts. I mean, I think it's 35% of retail or something comes from Amazon now. Like, you know, that. And again, Google statistics were talking about that online retail used to equate for 20% pre-COVID, and during COVID, and probably out the back of it, it's near 30%. So the increase in people kind of buying online, I mean, it's going to really shake up the types of businesses that will be successful, will be relevant in the new world. What sort of things, what businesses do you think will be the ones that are going to be able to survive and thrive in that kind of newly sort of shaken up world?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think, you know, it's like you're saying, the obvious consumer market is we've all had to. We all of a sudden, whether we like it or not, we're buying everything online, or most things online. Now, obviously, the government are trying to then switch that back into getting to a physical environment in terms of motivating us going to restaurants and that sort of stuff. But the other thing I wanted to sort of pick up on is the B2B market. Really interesting there, because for example, one of our clients is a software client. They usually pre-COVID, they book out a room, nice hotel, or into a football club, get 80, 100 people in a room, and then they go through their products, they add some value and all that sort of stuff. Get into COVID, all the events were cancelled. We did an online version for them. So bearing in mind, they probably do 6 events a year, averaging about 60 to 80 people. So what's that, 300-400 people? We did an online version, half-day workshop, made it free in the same way as their offline events are free. We had 4,000 sign-ups in 3 weeks.
What? Mad.
That's a B2B software. So that's utilizing your CRM properly. It's getting the right messaging and imagery. It's all the standard marketing stuff. But the reach and the engagement they had was, what's that? Probably 10 times what they would get on an annual basis.
Yeah, and I'm guessing lower overheads as well.
Oh, exactly. Lower overheads, much more agile, route to market much quicker, impact was much more, and they doubled their leads coming out the back of it as well.
Yeah, and again, I think going forward, there's no reason why that can't continue. Like, there's not, I do virtual networking events, and they work really well, because actually you don't have to travel, you don't have to do all the stuff. Yes, it is a bit more formal, as you sort of we spoke about. You kind of straight to the point a little bit, but actually kind of that's what you're there for, networking. Do you know what I mean? It's actually not a bad thing necessarily to meet those people and spend more of your social time with some mates as well. So I think there's some relevance there for the digital world going forward. I'm just going to jump into the next bit, because we're talking all about startup, and we can't ignore that when you are a startup and running a business entrepreneur, that you love a quote. You got to love a quote, because it drives you. It's like, it defines you. It's who you are. So we're gonna get you to answer this question: the snog, marry, avoid. Which one do you like? Which one do you love? Which one do you want to avoid? And there's 3 quotes which I'm just going to read out, and then we're going to get your view on those. So, very often a change of itself is needed more than a change of scene. Interesting.
Ooh,
it's getting existential.
That's deep.
That is way deep.
Friday afternoon, 3 minutes to 5 o'clock. A change of self.
Hang on, sorry, wait. We got to go through all of them. We don't want to, because again, there might be ones that you love, ones that you hate. But here we go. Next one. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world.
Beautiful.
Love that. Emotional.
Okay.
The big secret in life is that there is no secret. Whatever your goal, you can get there if you're willing to work. Oprah Winfrey.
Go Oprah.
Yeah, a fantastic story, that really is.
Amazing.
God, it's just challenging right now, isn't it? 3 minutes to 5 on a Friday afternoon in 36-degree heat. What are we thinking, Dan? What do we think?
So have I got to rate each one as
which one do you like? Which one do you like? So you have to give a label to one. One you like, one you love, one you hate. So snog, marry, avoid.
They're all
good, aren't they? This is the challenge.
There's no haters there. There's all like really good truth in that. Okay, here we go. Be decisive. I'm going to say I'm gonna hate the one with the word wonderful in it.
Controversial.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
Got to do it, mate.
How wonderful is it? Nobody wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. What a load of nonsense. I don't mean. I don't mean that, but I've got to
You've got to
hate
hate something.
So I'm going to hate on
Yeah.
I've got
Get
to hate on
aggressive
it,
with that
okay?
hate as well.
I'm aggressive. That's nonsense, man. Who said that?
It's madness.
And then the snog. So I got to do the snog and the marry. The snog is the big secret in life, but there is no secret. I think that is true.
You're snogging
but
Oprah.
I think
Okay.
yeah, I'm snog. You said that, not me.
That's too easy.
Controversial. And then the marry. Very often, a change of self is nearly more than a change of scene. I'm gonna.
So second thoughts. He's got cold feet. He was going to marry it. He's got cold feet. He's going to back out.
Okay, I'm going to stick with my convictions. I'm going to marry that because I think change of self is often, change often starts internally and it's decisions and your mindsets and all that stuff. So I'm going to stick with that.
Absolutely. No, like it. Agreed. Love those. Snog, marry, avoid. That is status quo. Good work, Dan. That's impressive there, guys in the chat.
Have a sip of beer after that.
Beer. Quite right. You've earned it because that was it was almost too much for myself to actually read the quotes, let alone think about which ones that I really like or don't. So there was a question in the chat which I've completely missed. I'm scrolling back. What was the question was from Danny Windsor. What the name of the agency? It's a statement. How did you come up with it, or is it just as simple as being wonderful?
So when we named the agency, there were lots of things around colours, and there was lots of reds, there was lots of tangerines, there was a couple of oranges, and we said, well, what is the standard that we want to live up to? What's a benchmark, and what's a great summarises what we're trying to create? Wonderful.
Simple as that. And it has been, in fact, wonderful having you on board. Thank you very much for your time, Dan. Let's see what I've done. I've looped it around, concluded the show with the reference of wonderful. But no, honestly, it's been awesome having you. Thanks for the insights, and best of luck with the upcoming opportunities that are ahead of you.
Thanks, Luke.
Guys, we are out of time. It is boiling. I hope, as I said, you have a cold drink and you're in some shade right now because I'm about to head that way. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're going to be back. I'm on holiday next week. I am staying at home. I'm building a tree house for my kids. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'll keep you posted. I'll give you some photos for the next time that we're back. So we'll be back in a week's time on the Wednesday. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We're all living in some strange times, but for all of us, it's just business as unusual.